I did my project on Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. According to the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, a classic is a work of enduring excellence. Mansfield Park fits this definition because it is a successful book that's still popular 200 years after it was written. It deals with enduring themes about morality and the influence of nature and nurture. It is actually even considered to be the first modern novel by Nick. Mansfield Park takes place in England around 1814, which is when it was published. The story depicts this setting in many ways. For example, Fanny's uncle, Sir Thomas, is away for a good portion of the book dealing with business in Antigua, where he owns slaves. This is obviously not something that could happen every time period. Differences in social classes at that time are shown by the contrast between the Prices and Bertrams, especially when Fanny goes to visit her family for a couple months. The differences in rural and urban life and what values each one takes were also depicted. Another way the time period is shown is through the morals of the characters, like when the teenage characters, aside from Fanny, decide to turn a room of the house into a theater and put on a play. Fanny and Edmund think it was a bad idea, and when Sir Thomas returns, he makes them stop. In today's society, acting out in a play with your friends seems pretty innocent, but at that time it was considered immoral, especially since the play they chose had sexual. Mansfield Park is obviously not a biography of Jane Austen, but there are some similarities between her life and the events of the book. For example, Austen was sent to boarding school when she was 7 or 8, which may be reflected in Fanny being sent to live with her aunt and uncle. She was very close with her sister Cassandra, and they wrote each other letters whenever they were apart. Similarly, Fanny cares deeply about her brother William, and they write each other letters often. And when Fanny stays with her family, she becomes close with her sister Susan as well, who ends up coming back to Mansfield Park. In addition, Austen was proposed to by a man named Harris Bigwither, but said no because she didn't love him. This could be similar to Fanny turning Henry Crawford down because she doesn't love him. Austen was also a very modest person, like Fanny.
Thinking of you constantly. Have I not proved myself?
I just don't know how to answer
A few different
you.
adaptations have been made of Mansfield Park. One was a TV movie in 2007. It is fairly faithful to the novel, but still has minor changes, like some characters like the Grants and Mr. Yates not being in it. The plot needs to move faster because it only has an hour and a half to tell the story, so the timing of some things is also sped up. One big change that happens is that Fanny is left in Mansfield alone at one point to reflect and basically make her change her mind and marry Henry, which never happened in the novel. This takes the place of the part in the novel where she visits her family in Switzerland. It might have been done to save time, or because it allows all the major characters to be in one place when they receive news that Mariah and Henry have run off together, which adds to the dramatic effect.
Mariah has left her home and her husband.
No, this cannot be.
Flagrantly, publicly, and utter contempt for her family's honour. A complete disregard for each and every one of us. She has run away with Mr. Crawford.
Also, the movie actually shows Fanny and Edmund getting together, instead of just saying in the last chapter that it happened eventually, after he got over married.
I love you. I was blind. Forgive me.
Another adaptation was a movie released in 1999. It follows the book much less closely. It also speeds a lot of things up, and some characters are also left out, in this case, William. In this film, the character of Fanny Price is merged in some ways with Jane Austen herself. Fanny is shown to enjoy writing, and will read aloud pieces of her work that were written by Austen when she was younger. This could be done to make Fanny more interesting for the audience. It also portrays the problems of slavery and lack of women's rights as having a larger role than they do in the novel, where they were just briefly mentioned.
Yes, the mulattoes are in general well-shaped, and the women especially well-featured. I have one So easy and graceful in her movement.
This makes sense because when the book was written they would have been more controversial, while when the movie was made they were obviously considered to be wrong. In short, Mansfield Park does fit the definition of a classic.